All right, hopefully everybody's using the trade desk, doing your get started in the pre-trading and then end of day, making sure that you're tagging your trades and reviewing the day. What you'll want to do once you've done that for a few days is come in here to the reports section, and this is going to give you a good overview of areas you can improve on and where you're doing well. TFD score here is really helpful. You want to get this as close to 100 as possible. You can click on insights. My profit factor is positive but low. Just been taking my time with this account, and then the past week have been getting better and better. My goal on this is 6K for this one. Looking at the TFD score here, you want to look at your profit factor above 1, recovery factor. If you had a drawdown, how well are you able to come back to that, break even and make profit? Being conservative with your sizing. You can see here back in October I was oversizing and hence had a big drawdown here back in October, and then started to get more conservative, just looking for these base hits. For me, it's 500 to 750 per day. For you, it's going to be that 180 that you want to be hitting every day. So everybody in the boot camp will be passing their accounts if you're following the boot camp plan much sooner than I will be passing this account, this is just a larger goal here. Looking at win rate is not as important if you're consistent. Win rate, you can still have a profitable system and process without having a high win rate. You can see I am profitable overall, even with a 45% win rate. I'd like to see that go up. Overall, if your winners are larger than your losers, then you're going to have success with trading. So don't focus on the win rate as much. Max drawdown, this is probably one of the most important things. And really what you want to look at, I don't know if it shows it in here, is your intraday drawdown. But you can monitor that throughout the day on your own. How far down did you go throughout the day, and limiting that as much as possible. I know you've got a $400 maximum intraday drawdown that you guys set for yourself in the system. However, ideally you don't want to have more of a loss or a drawdown throughout the day than you make on average. So if you're averaging 180 per day, ideally you don't want to be losing or drawing down intraday more than $180. So keep that in mind. Not a very high expectancy here per trade, $11. So these are not very good metrics here. And it's allowing me to dial into what's going on with this account. A lot of that has to do with just the way that I was trading initially last month. Was not following plan, letting emotions get involved here, oversizing, and you can see that's not productive. And so what you want to do is to review the bonus content in the boot camp and trade the right way. You can see I started trading better here in this account. Looking at the recovery factor, this is the total max drawdown, the most I was down at the peak. The current drawdown it'll show here. Smaller drawdown is better, obviously indicates less risk in your trading strategy, and it'll break down the dates on your actual P&L. So although I was maximum down $2,400, looks like I closed out the day at $1,592 on that actual date back here in October. Got a Sharpe ratio. This is something that you use for a hedge fund, mutual fund, if you're looking at longer term investments, or if you're looking to get into this professionally outside of the prop firms and actually make this a career with a major bank or a major company. You want to keep your eyes on these two things here, the Sortino ratio and Sharpe ratio. higher ratio indicates better risk adjusted performance, and that's really what a fund manager is trying to do, is to beat the S&P 500, essentially the benchmark they call it. You can see even with this terrible performance here, I'm still outperforming the market. So ideally you want your P&L curve to not have these big ups and downs. You want to have it to be more in line with a gradual increase and consistent profits and losses here. Sortino ratio, another metric that measures your returns, only focusing on the downside risk. So even with these drawdowns here, lately I've improved enough so that I do have an excellent Sortino ratio. Consistency in October, completely inconsistent. You can see what you want to focus on here is your loss streaks. Generally, if I have 3 losses in a row, I want to shut down for the day. And several times last month, I did not do that. And that's most likely what contributed to some of these larger drawdowns. So if you can just focus on taking those base hits, shutting down, locking out, that's going to be the best path towards consistency and improving this number. I want to get this up in the green here within the next week or two. Also review your symbols and P&L based on the symbols. You can see I have a very high win rate with gold, and it'll show your setups, what's performing the best. It'll run down through your tags, and it'll also go through the most profitable time frame. For me, generally that's 5 to 7 minutes. I know that from just looking at my brokerage and other accounts, trying to incorporate that into here, even though it does say 30 minutes to 1 hour. This doesn't include my data from outside of this evaluation account. So you'll figure out trading with Vegas and Watertown what the time frame is for you that is going to work most consistently, and stick to that. Not over trading and not holding a trade too long are also going to be keys for you here moving forward once you go to funded. Then this breaks down your longest win streak. For me, that was 8 trades. Longest losing streak was 13 trades. So that's pretty rough here. I don't like seeing that. Ideally, you want your win streaks to be better, but it doesn't really matter because in this case, I make more money overall, and I know over time it's going to work out. So don't get frustrated. Hopefully you don't have this long of a loss streak here, but just know that overall, if you're trading correctly, your strategy is going to play out. You're going to be making money. And that's what you can see here. The best hours for you to trade. For me, the worst is actually the close. So I'm going to try and avoid the close here, the New York close. Moving forward, your maximum adverse excursion and maximum favorable excursion. This is showing me that I have captured the majority of the move on my trades. I'm capturing about 3/4 of that, which is great. This is going to show you how many trades you were in that were in profit, but you let them come past break even. And about 1/4 of my trades here I've allowed to turn into losses. So this is something I can nail down and as well, making sure I'm trailing my stop. Like you guys are being taught, trailing your stop once you're in profit to make sure you lock in profit, making sure that a winning position doesn't become a loser. My perfect exit, I would have potentially made another $250 per trade on average. So something to consider for me. I'm okay with leaving money on the table. That's all right. You can't be perfect. If this number gets larger, then I can see maybe I need to make an adjustment as far as how long I'm holding. But right now I'm pretty happy with this capturing 70% of the trade potential. On the adverse side, how many trades go negative but end up profitable. So it looks like I'm doing fairly well with this but looks like there is room for improvement. Making sure that I'm not allowing trades to become negative. So actually, I'm okay with this number. Just because it's a trade doesn't recover doesn't mean it's a bad trade. It means I'm following my rules. This is saying I left a lot of profit on the table, though, potentially. So maybe something I can look at here moving forward. Average risk reward 1 to 1.2. So slightly above 1 to 1. 1 to 1 is just an average. You'll see Vegas taking profit on trades that are 1 to 5, 1 to 8, 1 to 10. So he holds a lot longer and is able to capture more reward. And ideally, you want that above 1 to 1, which I am, so I'm happy with that. Win rate for trades where maximum adverse excursion stays below specific dollar amounts. Okay, so this is good. I want this more trades below $50 here if possible, and reduce any of the excursions in these larger dollar amounts. Summary of trades all time in this account. Looks like there was a lot of over trading last month. Largest profit was less than my largest loss. I want my losses to be about half of my largest profits when possible. Average winning trade, you want larger than your average losing trade. And you want your most profitable day to be larger than your least profitable day. My average trade duration, 3 minutes, 15 seconds. I'm okay with that. I think I can size down probably and hold a little longer to 5 to 8 minutes is where I kind of want to nail that trade duration down for me. And then you can see for November, you'll have your daily calendar here and you can take a look how you've been performing. This week I had 2 losing days, but I kept those below my average daily win, which I like. So don't want to be losing more than about $500 per day. And see, I did exceed that on last week on Thursday, and looks like just took a few too many trades here. Good week overall. Last week also pretty much kept the 1 to 1 ratio as far as how much I made each day to how much I lost. The smaller you can keep your losing days is going to make your progress once you're in the funded much more enjoyable, limiting the days amount that you actually lose. If you want to look at that specific day, you can see how the day proceeded here. You can see I had 3 trades. And if you're going in and marking your setups and tagging them, that'll give you some more information. If you want to look at the trade itself, just click on the trade. And of course, add a chart if you can here. Okay, some other sections of the report to go to are your trade history. You can view your setup and tags. This is just an easy way to make sure. You can see I haven't journaled properly for a few of my trades here this week, so I need to go back and do that. Wins and losses. This is a good overview, just showing these dots every time you took a win or a loss. You can see I had a long streak here. That was a losing streak. And then recently, a lot more green dots than red dots. So this is really good to see. Performance by day of the week. I'm not going to put too much emphasis on this right now because I'm just getting back into a winning kind of mind frame. And you can see that playing out over the past few weeks here with my not only win rate, but net profits. Taking less trades, making more money this week. And that's what I want to see, is more profit for each trade, and choosing the right setups, being patient for the setups is what really played out this week. You can see that was my last red week and just slowed down and consistently have had green weeks for the past month, past 5 weeks here. Really getting dialed in here. This week you can see I'm taking less trades, making more money. That's really what I want to see here. Less trades, more money. Time of day. Again, you can see the worst time for me is the close. I want to avoid that personally for me, just based on what I'm seeing here. Trade volume, contract size of 1. So smaller size, larger P&L. Kind of doesn't make sense, right? You'd think the more size you take, the more profit you'd make, but not according to these metrics. So this is very interesting. Sizing down, making more money. And then symbol comparison. Gold has been my best performing asset currently. I think that's about it. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Make sure you're journaling in the morning, noting your emotions, closing out the day. That's going to go a long way in helping you to stay consistent, slow down, actually understand what's going on in the market, and then be able to tell how your emotions are affecting you beforehand so that you don't make mistakes like I did here in October.